It's time for an uncomfortable conversation.
Now, this conversation might piss a lot of people off, but it's time we get into Black and ghetto fatigue. Let's talk about it. Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. I don't know how this one's gonna be taken, but I feel like this is a conversation that needs to be had because I keep seeing this particular phrase or these particular phrases pop up all over the place, and it's Black fatigue and ghetto fatigue. And first we have to talk about what these things mean. Okay, so the phrase Black fatigue has actually changed over time. Interestingly enough, when you look up the term Black fatigue, you're gonna find that it's derived from an author, Mary Frances.
So yeah, like guys, if you don't know, Black fatigue came from, a woke person pretty much saying that Black people were tired of how they were treated. And a lot of Black people were mad that there's been a new definition of Black fatigue. But people need to understand that different phrases, different words have different meanings. And it's not a problem for people to talk about, the different definition of Black fatigue. I don't get why people are really mad about that.
Winters in her book titled Black Fatigue, How Racism Erodes the Mind, Body, and Spirit. And the term was originally used to describe the feeling that Black people have in facing systemic racism and systemic oppression, a fatigue that only Black people experience because of their Black experience in a Western colonial system. But now you've seen Black fatigue taking another direction online, and it's people essentially saying they're tired of Black culture, they're tired of ghetto behavior, they're tired of Black behavior, essentially. Now, of course, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this video. Not all Black people behave in a way.
It's kind of sad that she has to say that because it's common sense. Of course, not every Black person acts like this. Obviously, not every one person is going to act one way.
That is later used to justify feeling Black fatigue. Not all Black people are engaging in the Black culture that we are going to talk about in today's video, but there is a very present issue I think that our society is facing right now, and it's leading to things like Black or say ghetto fatigue. So we're gonna break down this issue, and I've seen a number of people do this on YouTube already. Shout out to Amir Odom, who did a huge video on Black fatigue and teen takeovers. I recommend you go and watch that. I'm going to show you some examples of what people are talking about when they say they're experiencing Black and ghetto fatigue. This video says, quote, the definition of you can't take Black people anywhere.
And the moment you want to call this stuff out, like on TikTok comments, if you see someone call it out, it's like people want to get so mad at them, call them racist or whatever, but no, we're just pointing out this behavior in a public setting is not appropriate.
650,000 likes on that, with people just getting down in a restaurant filled with tons of people on a packed night where people are trying to work. Here's another one. In Houston, the gas station is the after hours spot, meaning this is happening late at night at a Houston gas station.
The hood kid today. It's Friday in the hood kid.
So you hear loud music playing, you hear somebody saying, we're out here in the hood, period. Here's another one from ABC News 7. Hundreds of teens take over Chicago neighborhood.
By the way, this stuff in the Black community is praised. It's looked up as a good thing for some reason. I don't know why. Being in the hood, doing things like this is cool. And the moment you don't do something like this, for example, I'm not the most stereotypical Black person at all. So when I don't act stereotypical, I get called whitewashed. I get discriminated against within my own community. So it's honestly, it's a flex to be called whitewashed in my opinion. But, a lot of people are going to get mad that I said that, but it is true. When people call you whitewash, that means that you're not adhering to the negative stereotypes that Black people continue to perpetuate through their behavior.
Now I'm going to read some of the comments here. Some say, I'm tired of this. Some say, well. And essentially they're going, well, I know exactly who the people are who are going to be responsible for this sort of behavior. And it's actually a pop culture reference, which I won't get into right now.
Well.
There's a lot of levels to this, and I don't even know that I can unpack all of this in an entire video. It's going to take maybe multiple parts to get down to the bottom of all this, but we're going to start today. Another person writes, fatigue is real with a broken heart. We're going to get into another video. This one shows a bunch of people populating in a burger spot. So over and over again, it seems to be
I don't get how that's fun. Do this in your house. Have your own little party in public. In a public setting. This is not a nightclub, bro. That's a burger joint.
The same story. A ton of people getting together, a ton of, it seems, really young Black people, loud music, screaming, congregating in areas where you probably aren't supposed to be congregating, where people are trying to do their jobs, where others are trying to get things done and lead their normal lives. And a lot
Exactly, bro. This is a business. This is not the nightclub. Go do this. Go do this at some random club. Like I don't see the reason to be doing this here at a burger place.
of people are attributing this to Black people in Black culture because that's who they're seeing in these spaces. And it's then leading to the phrase Black fatigue being shared all over the internet. And this expands far beyond the teen takeovers and the mobs and the street hangouts and parties. People are now looking at other parts of Black culture or what they believe to be Black culture and saying they're fatigued with that as well. One of the things they're saying is part of Black culture that they're fatigued with is the dependence on government and popping out a bunch of kids. And if you haven't seen this, I'll show some examples. This TikTok says, I received a letter saying I make too much to get food stamps. I have 12 kids. How?
Yeah, so I just got a damn notification from Department of Children and Families, because y'all know they do the my food stamp case. They sent me a damn letter. First of all, I thought it was a letter.
Bro, I hate when they talk like that. It's so annoying too. And then like earlier today, I was scrolling on TikTok and they were like it was like these people arguing how white people use AVE and they're very mad. I'm like, bro, okay, who wants to talk like that? Like there might be one instance where I speak in AVE, but I don't know. I think talking like this is like not a flex. It's very improper, and it's kind of annoying.
Because I did let them know that I did not want to do. I want to do paper notifications instead of email notifications because that's how I forgot to recertify. They're gonna send me a letter saying that I make too much. My household income is too much, so they won't even qualify me anymore for EBT. How in the And I got 12 kids.
How did 12 kids get into the picture? One of the top comments on this video, raise your hand if you're tired of this. Let's move on to the next video. This one says, they done took all the sweets from food stamps, finna have to trade a pack of chicken for Lil Debbie snacks.
They have taken all the sweets off of Snap Packers. Y'all, we are about to be passing out packs of chicken in exchange for Little Debbie snack cakes. I promise y'all it'll be worth it. I'm gonna get y'all the organic, grass-fed.
Bro, there's no way you're tweaking out over Little Debbie snacks.
And guess what, guys? I'm gonna keep going. This next one, white people making babies versus Black people making babies.
Yo, one thing I never understood is when white people be like, yeah, we're trying for a baby. We're trying for a baby. You know, we've been trying for years. We just trying. And that's just one thing I never understood. Like, because in our community, it's like, yo, this bitch just keep getting pregnant.
A lot of these videos are shocking. I can't say that they're necessarily surprising because I think a lot of
Speaking facts, bro, I don't know what it is. They just be having kids like every second. Like one of my I forgot which. I think she's my cousin, but she has like 5, 6. I don't even know how many kids. She has a lot. Which like 5 to people that might not seem like crazy, but the average amount of kids I think is like 2 or 3. So like 5 is kind of a lot.
of us, if we're being honest, can look at certain parts of the Black community and recognize that these issues are running rampant throughout these parts of the community. And it's become one of those things where you can't necessarily talk about it because you'll be labeled as a bigot or a racist for saying these are things that have been attributed to Black.
Bro, literally, you like say stuff that's common sense or not even that offensive. You literally get called out. They try to get you banned everywhere. Or not even just banned, like they try to mess up your actual life. Like there's people that like email schools and do all this just because you say something. And I'm like, your life cannot be that boring for you to try to ruin someone else's for an opinion. That's not even that bad when you actually hear it. Someone just saying Black people are loud sometimes and I just prefer for them. Just something small like that.
Culture. And now the Black people are taking on and essentially saying this is our culture and this is how we are. And of course there are people who act in these ways that are not Black, but when you look at this behavior, there does seem to be a particular pattern of Black people and young Black people at that engaging in this way. And we're going to talk about why that takes place, not just the reaction to it and the idea of being fatigued with Black culture. We're also going to talk about the fact that this was not Black culture in the past. Black culture is something that is shifted.
But yeah, Blacks were doing very good during the Jim Crow era. And people get mad when people say this, but it's actually true. Like they were, okay, the way they spoke was not proper. Like, I will be honest with that. Like, yeah, but they were doing well. Like, when it came to making money. Like the family was together, like they were doing good.
And taken on many different forms. And it's very interesting that some Black people want to hold on to these sorts of acts, behaviors, and tendencies and call them Black culture. First, let's keep laying out what people are seeing. So we got through kids and the dependency on government and welfare systems that we have set in place in our country. Let's talk about how these children are acting. There's a video on TikTok that says we gotta save our children.
We gotta save our children.
What the?
We gonna pop their ass. We gonna pop their ass.
What y'all gonna
After
do?
a while, gonna pop their ass. We gonna mute their ass. We got out rounds here.
Y'all got
We got real ops. I do.
So for those of you who do not understand what these kids are saying, they're saying things like, we're gonna pop their ass, we're gonna shoot people, essentially. They're saying we have ops out here, which if you don't know what that means, they're saying they have enemies in their community, and that's why they are armed with.
The fact that they like know about this too at a young age is actually insane. Like these people are like, what, 7? These kids like look like they're 7 years old, and you're talking about ops. Like, who have you been around to even know like what that is?
Toy guns to shoot their toy enemies, I guess, and the other little kids who are running around in these neighborhoods who are their ops. Let's keep watching.
We got real ops. We got real ops. Before I blow, I'm gonna blow. Before I blow, before I leave, I gotta blow all this.
I'm gonna pray for you. You hear me, my boy?
Ain't no prayer fixing this. Bro, ain't no prayer fixing this, bro. We need to like, I don't know, honestly, what will like change like the culture around the Black community. Like it would just probably just take years and upon years for us to fix something like this. The behavior that tends to be attributed to our community, that's gonna take a very long time.
Crazy.
And it's so crazy to watch these videos because you know that these kids are going to grow up and keep emulating this behavior, but in far more serious ways than maybe what you see displayed in these videos. You have ballet teachers, kindergarten teachers saying that kids are showing up to class wanting to listen to rap music, wanting to dance to Sexy Red and Meg Thee Stallion. And I mean like 5-year-old ballet classes. That's what people are dealing with in some of these communities. And I've already shown you videos of the teen takeovers that are happening in places like Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, where Black teens are getting together to the tune of hundreds, if not thousands of them, and deciding particular places, establishments that they're going to show up and essentially create mobs. And in these mobs, there's loud music, there's screaming, there's often violence, sometimes shootings. It's getting out of hand. And when you watch videos like the little kids I just showed you, it's very easy to figure out how they may end up at some of these teen takeovers and in other horrible positions within these communities. It affects their personal lives and their growing up, their coming of age stories, but it also affects all the people who are living in these communities with these teens and with these young people. And it's no wonder a lot of them are screaming out Black fatigue. Now, when it comes to the effect that you're having on other people,
Exactly. That's why a lot of people move out of these neighborhoods, and you see these people living in, for example, I live in Michigan, so people living in Detroit wanting to move to the suburbs because, bro, no one wants to be around the violent behavior in urban areas. That's not even just for a specific race, just in general. Like the urban locations tend to have way more violence, especially when you're not living in like a downtown area, because I feel like downtown areas tend to be a little bit more safer. So when people are living in, you know, the rougher areas of urban locations, they want to leave.
People's lives within the society that we're all trying to coexist in with one another. I think a great example of this is trying to go shopping and having all the different products that you're trying to purchase as somebody who is trying to live their life locked up behind glass. This is something that I experience all the time living in LA. It is very interesting.
Bro, I actually saw a Lunchable. No, I'm not joking. A Lunchable. Okay, I didn't see it. It was a video that I reacted to. But there was a Lunchable with the security tag on it that you would see on clothes, locked up, because people keep stealing it. A Lunchable. A $1.87 Lunchable.
Interesting how you can go into certain communities where everything is open and you're able to shop freely, and others where things are locked up. And even when we get down to the items that are locked up, you can see there's particular issues with particular communities. I'll explain.
This is $3.80. This is $11. This is $3. This is $11. Do you see the logic at Walmart? Okay, just want to make sure everybody sees the logic.
Now, this is a white woman trying to shop at Walmart. She notices that a $3 skincare product is locked up and needs security in order for you to purchase it, but an $11 or $12 sunscreen is not locked up. I have to ask, who's buying sunscreen? What's the racial demographic of a person buying sunscreen? Can we have the conversation? Okay, here's another video where somebody says you go to Target in Fordham for the first time and everything is locked up.
Like, it is so annoying, especially for the people who aren't, like, stealing. They have to deal with this. It's now time-consuming for the workers as well because they have to unlock the cases. And it just takes longer to buy things now because there are people who won't abide by the law and steal, so everything's locked up. Like, everyone understands why electronics and, you know, more expensive items are locked up. But things like shampoo, deodorant, Lunchables, like just basic necessities are locked up that people now have to take longer to buy now.
The ghetto.
Interestingly enough, the audio says, ooh, the ghetto, the ghetto. Another one. Everything is locked up in PG Mall. My God.
Yo, I am literally at a Target in another neighborhood, and I kid you not, like everything is locked up. Everything is locked up. Everything is locked up.
Why is it that you're in a Target in another neighborhood, and what is the racial makeup of that neighborhood, and could that explain why things are locked up? And we've seen other videos where people go into stores and they're looking at things like foundation and makeup products and finding that those are dark.
But honestly, when we do ignore race, it does tend to be lower income areas that have you know, higher crime rates. Not even just when it comes to color. Of course, Black people tend to have a lower income, so they live in these lower income areas. That's from different various reasons. It's not a race thing. You being Black is not going to make you low income. It's mainly from the behaviors that, you know, tend to be attributed to Black people. There tends to be a lack of a father figure in the home, which also contributes to their being lower income.
Your skin tones are locked behind glass, while lighter foundations are free for people to purchase at any moment they want to. They don't need to call an employee in order to grab a certain product. Why? Because products with darker complexions or that service a darker complexion are being stolen more than lighter ones. And I have to say, as a mixed person myself, it is so embarrassing to have to go out into your community and try to shop, try to be a normal person living in society, and you have to eventually, I guess, have a chaperone to just do the shopping that you need to do in a regular store. And when we talk about issues like racial profiling or being judged or having to have a chaperone,
But I talked about this before and so many people got mad at me. Like, when it comes to, like, I don't blame people for racially profiling. Let me explain. Like, let's say I own a store and people who come to my store that are Black, for example, like, let's say it's a diverse group of people who come in, but the people who are Black that come in, they tend to steal the most. Of course, I'm going to be profiling more when a Black person comes into my store because that's like what has happened mostly. Same way, vice versa with a white person. For people who are going to get mad at me for using that example, let's say Black people don't steal, but the white people who tend to come in, like 9 times out of 10, they steal. Of course, I'm going to be more cautious. I'm going to be looking at the cameras more. I'm going to be keeping an eye on someone who's white because they are stealing from my business more. So, like, that racial profiling, I don't mind. But when you're, like, saying, oh, but you're Black, so you can't come to my store, that's different because that's, like, discriminating. Like, yes, you're discriminating by judging them and maybe having more precautions, but, like, by not letting them inside the establishment for the race, that's, like, different. You can do that. You know, it's your business, but I don't agree with that at all.
You're trying to shop at a store. Can we at all be surprised? And this is the reality. You have people who are choosing not to abide by the law, impacting those that do. So now my experience and the experience of so many other people changes because of people who don't want to follow the rules and people who don't want to engage in society in the way that everybody else has agreed to. And what this creates is communities that I will call high risk, low trust, where it feels risky just to walk out of your front door and try to be around normal people or try to go to a restaurant, or you feel like you're going to be judged for looking the way you look because how other people who look like you behave. Low trust means there's not as much freedom. Nobody's trusting you to actually engage in the way that they would engage. And it creates so many barriers to just experiencing life in the way that others get to experience it. Here's a great video example.
Look how freaking cute this is. I was on my walk and I saw this little sign with all these little flowers. So I went home and grabbed some money, and now I'm gonna put some money in and take a little flower thing. How cute is this? Got myself some flowers. These are so freaking cute.
That is freaking cute. But let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you a question. Y'all know what the question is going to be, but here we go. I'm going to ask the question. How long does a place like that or a stand like that last in Atlanta? Now, y'all won't ask the question, so I ask the fucking question. How long would a stand like that last in Memphis?
One day. Not even 1 hour. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
How long would a stand like that last in Detroit?
In Detroit, like 5 seconds.
How long would a stand like that last in Chicago on the South Side? How long?
These are questions that we have to start having answers to. And the interesting thing is, nobody could speak and answer this guy's question, but we all would know what the answer is. These stands and things could not exist in these areas because they wouldn't last. Nobody would be trusted to go home, put a little bit of money in a jar, and then take these flowers at their own discretion. And I see these things in being in different neighborhoods. You go to predominantly white places or white shopping centers, and sometimes they'll have stands with fruit or snacks or baked goods. And it essentially says, I trust you, put in $5 and take whatever you want. And you see a jar full of money and people who are going and buying these goods without any attendant, any cashier, anybody to keep things secure. Could you see the same in some of the areas that he mentioned in this video? No. And just one more example to drive this home. I could go on and on with all the different ways in which this impacts us, and we could break down all the minutia of this, but I'll stick to things that I've just personally experienced and conversations that I've actually been having recently with friends and people in my community. I know a lot of people who are servers here in LA, and whether we want to have this conversation or not, nearly every single server that I've spoken to in this city says that they are not interested in serving predominantly Black tables and customers. Now, this comes off.
Yes, we know why. That's mainly because Black people tend to tip the least, and they tend to be like pretty obnoxious and annoying. Even some of my family members, I'm not even gonna lie, like I've some family members I have are more ghetto and obnoxious, and I've been to dinner with them. I've had, experiences with them, and you start to understand why people don't like to wait on Black tables. But what are your guys' thoughts about this regarding the Black fatigue that people talk about? Do you think it's justified? Do you think it's valid? Or do you think, this is racism?